Down in Tampa Bay, the sun starts to shine. Boys of summer lacing up, feeling fine. The crack of the bat, that sweet refrain. Spring training's here, we're ready again. From the mound to the field, we stretch and we groove. Every pitch, every catch, we find our move. With dreams of the season in every play, the Rays are here, come join the fray. Spring swung in with a flash of blue. Baseball hearts beating anew. Every fly ball and every sway, hear the cheers for our Tampa Bay. The crowd starts to gather, not a moment too soon. March winds whistle a familiar tune. From rookies to vets, the lineup's tight. Each one's a star, shining so bright. Spring swung in with a flash of blue. Baseball hearts beating anew. Every fly ball and every sway, hear the cheers for our Tampa Bay. Under palm trees, swaying in the gentle breeze, the boys of summer perform with ease. Each inning a chance to thrill the zap. In the diamond glow, we close the gap. Summer perform with ease. Each inning a chance, the thrill, the zap. In the diamond glow, we close the gap.
And now, you're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
This is the RBLR Rays podcast. I'm your host, Zach Dobb, along with my co-host, Pat Davenport. Pat, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. I've been watching some playoff baseball, which is a completely different experience when your team isn't in it. Yeah. But I've been having fun. I mean, what do you think the Dodgers are ruining baseball?
No, I mean, I'm with kind of a lot of the, sports media opinion on this, where the Dodgers are not the problem here. It's the fact that they've been kind of, allowed to do what they are doing, which is completely within the rules. And no teams are really doing anything to try to compete with them. And no teams are, really, challenging them at that salary level, and that there has been no effort made in collective bargaining to implement a salary floor is the problem here, because you have teams like the Rays that are spending like 90 million a year relative to the Dodgers, who aren't even paying Shohei yet. And, and again, like the way that they're paying Shohei with the deferred contract, anybody could do that. Anyone could. Now, not everybody has the money to do that or the willingness. But anybody could. So I don't blame the Dodgers for it. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think it's so weird. Like the same people that were saying that the Dodgers are ruining baseball by spending so much money and buying all the players are the same people in 2020 that said the Rays were ruining baseball by not paying people money.
Yeah.
So which is it? How do we ruin baseball? Do we ruin baseball by paying people all the money, or do we ruin it by not paying them any money? We can't have it both ways. These people want everyone to spend the same amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reality is that's just never going to happen. Even just economically, it just isn't. Like we all understand that like different markets have different revenues and all of this stuff. We understand this. So, but I think what we are probably more willing to push for is something like a salary floor to give us somewhere to start. Now, of course, there's all kinds of knock-on effects of creating a salary floor that would, impact players' salaries and where they start with the knowledge that there is a salary floor in play. We saw that a little bit with the A's last offseason where they were just kind of throwing money at guys randomly because they needed to. And so it would be interesting to see what would happen if they went that route. But you'd have to think to get a salary floor, it had to be some other serious concessions to go along with it. So I don't know, but I don't blame the Dodgers for it. And I am thoroughly enjoying the Mariners and Blue Jays series. And I really am. I feel like I'm 100% a Mariners fan right now. Like and not just because of Randy. Like I think they got a fun story. Kyle Raleigh is fun. The Mariners pitching is fun. I would be very happy if they got to the World Series. I don't know that they could give, the fact that you have a player on the Dodgers who can literally like solo pitch 6 innings, no earned runs given up, and then hit 3 home runs. Like the fact that they have that guy. Nobody else has that guy. If that guy does that, like he's going to get you a game like on his own, basically.
Yeah.
He can. He might not. That was an incredible performance. Even he hasn't done that in recent days. That was a different level for him. So if he can do that more in the World Series, it may not matter how good the Mariners are. But I don't think he will be able to do that he can't do it every game. And I don't think he'll be able to necessarily replicate that performance. But it's going to be tough for the Mariners if they make it there.
Yeah, because the thing is, if Shohei doesn't do that, don't worry, Yamamoto's on the form of his career. Oh, Blake Snell's really locked in at the moment. Oh, they've got this lockdown. If you get past Ohtani's bat, you've got the reigning World Series MVP Freddie Freeman waiting behind him, and you've got Mookie Betts, who's had a bit of a down year, but he's still kicking about. You've got all. They're just so deep. Is the thing. There's no. It's not like the Yankees where you go, well, if you can just avoid Judge, you can probably manage them. Yeah. It's not like that with the Dodgers.
No.
So, yeah, I'm rooting for the Mariners too. But the only thing is, if they do win the World Series, that list of teams that haven't gets a little smaller, and the Rays are still. So it's kind of like, oh man, do it.
But could that not influence the new ownership to say, hey, we don't want to be on that list any longer?
Maybe. So yeah, it's interesting. I think the NLCS Brewers Dodgers being the fight for baseball's future is overblown.
Yeah.
But you got to get your clicks somehow.
You do. And speaking of getting clicks, we'd appreciate if all of you who have decided to join us today, which we thank each and every one of you that has, if you would give us a click on the socials that you follow us on, either dropping us a follow, dropping us a like. The things you could do that would help us out the most if you are a returning viewer and you enjoy the show, share it out, retweet us out so that other people that you think might enjoy the show know that we're going live. If you are joining us for the first time, thanks for joining us. We're going to talk about Junior Caminero today, and we have a lot to talk about when talking about Junior Caminero because he's the franchise, and there's no two ways about it. And he had a season that not even we predicted. And I went back and I watched our predictions video where we talked about Junior leading into the season, and there was a couple of interesting nuggets in there. The first one, kind of as we're looking at how we thought we thought he would play relative to how he did play, is something that you said, Pat. You said the Rays are going to go as Junior goes. And that kind of played out this season.
Yeah, it absolutely did. I said, I will pretend I didn't add a second player into that sentence for now, and that prediction. But essentially, the whole point is what I was saying was if Junior plays well, the Rays will do well, and if Junior doesn't play well, the Rays won't do well. And that he was kind of the X factor in the team. Mm-hmm. It didn't quite work out that way because Junior did well and the team didn't. But to look a little like a layer deeper into that, I had a quick look about how well Junior Caminero performed in games that the Rays won compared to how he did in Rays losses. And essentially, in Rays wins, he batted 328, 367, 713. That comes to a 1,080 OPS, which is, huge. That's like incredible numbers. 30 of his 45 home runs came there. And he absolutely mashed in Rays wins. In Rays losses, not quite as good. He batted 203, 258 on base, 363 slugging, a 621 OPS, which is I think even Taylor Walls had better than an OPS of 621 this year. So it's not great. So when Junior played well, the Rays won. When Junior didn't play well, the Rays lost. I know that doesn't sound like groundbreaking, but the team did well when Junior was producing, because he was kind of, unfortunately, at 22 years old, the point at which the whole offense revolved around, right? Like Yandy would try and get on base and set the table, and it was up to Junior or Lau to get him home. And Lau was fine. He was like fine to good, but it wasn't like prime Brandon Lau. So it was really Junior to provide the offense.
Yeah, and when you look at Yandy and Bilal, and we'll get into this more when we talk about we do their play reviews, but they finished the season with exactly 83 RBIs each. Their numbers are like Yandy performed better at like just overall as a hitter, got on base more. Even his slugging was a little bit higher, but their ability to drive in runs ended up being about the same. They also scored the same amount of runs. So even Yandy's increase in on base percentage didn't really outpace Brandon Lau's ability to drive in runs with home runs, which he had 6 more. But you look at Junior leading the team with 45 home runs and 110 RBIs as a 21-year-old. I mean, technically he's 22 at the end. It's a 21-year-old season, finishing the season with an 846 OPS and a 129 WRC plus, and Maybe the way to think about it, at least how I would think about it, is he's maybe not the reason that the Rays are losing, but he is the reason the Rays are winning. So, and at the same, and if you look at his like month to month throughout this season, he got really hot at the end of the season and was up and down a little bit at the beginning of the season. And I think the reality is it's too much pressure to put on a 21-year-old to carry a team to the postseason. He did his best. He really did. Like you really couldn't have asked anything more from him for his first full season.
I mean, I think the thing Caminero was missing was any kind of protection behind him.
Yeah.
Right. He had a couple of main weaknesses. First of all, he did brilliantly, by the way.
Yes.
Like if you look at qualified third baseman in baseball by WRC plus, it goes Jose Ramirez, Junior Caminero.
Yeah.
So like he is right there with the elite third baseman. He came third amongst third basemen in Fangraphs WAR, mainly because Michael Garcia had a really good season, and particularly had a really good defensive season, which kind of gave him a little bit more WAR than Junior. But like, this is the conversation: who's the best third baseman in the league? It's Jose Ramirez. It's Junior Caminero. That's how good he was, right? That he's in that conversation. His hero was Manny Machado. He eclipsed Manny Machado's production this year. Which must be a crazy feeling that you eclipse your own hero. But he did have a couple of weaknesses, and one of them for me was that his walk rate was so low. And do you know why? One, I think because he's young, right? And when you're younger, you're more reckless with the swing. When you get more at bats, more reps, you know what's in the zone, what's going to be out the zone, just by seeing it more and learning more from seeing major league pitching. So I think he'll get a natural uptick. But also, like, if you're a pitcher against the Rays lineup, you go, oh, Brandon Lau, Yandy Diaz, Junior Caminero. All right, who's next? Oh, Cameron Meisner. Oh, Jake Mangum. Oh, Danny Jansen, Taylor Walsh.
Especially without Aranda in the lineup.
Right, exactly. So you go, all right, well, I'll just pitch around Junior then, and I'll take my odds against Everson Pereira. Thank you very much. So I think that made life a bit more difficult for Junior as well. I think as a young player, batting 3 or 4 in your lineup, and 22 is very young, by the way, for a Major League Baseball player, like that's exceptional. To be that young and to have to be the 3 or 4 in a major league lineup with no one behind you, that's a lot of pressure. And that will cause some less than optimal swing decisions. And that will cause the kind of hero complex of wanting to swing as much as possible. And also it can explain sometimes times where he's swinging at pitches that cause him to make bad contact as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, as we're talking about, because I think it's easy to talk about, of course, what he did well, which is hit the ball really hard and hit it out of the stadium, which he did 45 times, to the tune of being now number 2 in Rays history in home runs. And we all know that. But I think, like you say, when you look at the things that we'd like to see him do better, a lot of them I think are going to end up coming down to the fact that he was pressing a little bit. And felt like he needed to carry the team because he kind of did. The one thing that I think, is going to be something to watch. There's several things, but one thing in particular that I'm going to be watching next season is his swing percentage. He swung 50% of the time when he's up there.
That's high. It's
high. He's swinging a lot. And I don't necessarily have a huge issue with it. He actually did get his O swing down this season compared to his cup of coffee the last season. So that's good. I do like that he is trying to make an adjustment there. But he definitely, to this point in his career, while like I just kind of said, he does tend to have good plate discipline. I don't know that he's gotten to the point yet where he's willing to let a strike go by that is not an advantageous pitch for him, and allow himself to see another pitch to try to get a better pitch and extend the count. He will do that occasionally, situationally, but that's kind of the next step for him that I'd like to see in his development is the Yandy Diaz approach, fouling pitches off, taking your time and waiting for your pitch to square up and really drive it, as opposed to just. He is fully aware of how good his bat is in the sense of the speed of the bat, his ability to make contact on pitches really inside or even really outside. And so he's going to swing at pitches he shouldn't be swinging at because he has that confidence. And that is a good thing. And we don't want him to not have confidence in himself. But I think just that selectiveness is really going to end up being a huge boon for him if he can develop that. Because obviously we saw the power that he had, even maybe swinging at some pitches he shouldn't be swinging at. And the reality is some of those pitches he pulled out. So some of those pitches he pulled out. But the question I think will be for him going forward, can he be a little bit more selective? The walk rate of 6.2%, could we get that closer to a 10% walk percentage? Could we get his strikeout percentage down a little bit? I mean, honestly, a 19.1 strikeout percentage is not as bad as you might have thought it was going to be. He actually had his lower strikeout percentage than Jonathan Aranda this season.
Yeah. But I think to your point, though, like his called strike percentage, the amount of strikes he had a called strike on him, 14.1%, which amongst third basemen that had at least 300 plate appearances, that's like right near the lowest amount of called strikes, which means that he is swinging at stuff as soon as it's in the zone. And yeah, there's a difference between swinging at meatballs and there's a difference between that and swinging at stuff that's like, right at the bottom of the zone, which he's going to and then hit it because he hits the ball so hard.
Yeah.
If he hits the ball on the ground hard, it becomes double play bait.
Yeah.
Which
and I mean, his zone. Yes. His zone swing percentage was up about 8% this season from his previous cup of coffee. So he like it, if we're talking about like just like straight up positive negatives, his outside the zone swing went down, his zone swing went up. So like that's good. Like full stop. His contact percentage was up just in general as well, about 5% over last year. So a lot of good things under the hood, which is kind of what I'm getting at, is that there are like, even, we can see the home runs. We all saw the home runs and the RBIs and the doubles. But even when you look under the hood, there are really good things there. And they could even get better, but there are really good. Those numbers are good. Like, they're not like, there's no flashing red sign of like, hey, he was really good this year, but like any of the like concerns we're going to discuss with him, and we are, because we want to give you a complete picture of him as a player. They are, not hindering his greatness. They are just hurdles that we are wondering, is this a feature or a bug that could eventually get patched out? And we don't know that.
And I am of the belief that they are bugs. One, because he is so young, right? And this is his first full season against Major League pitching.
Yeah.
Two, this is a lineup that can stand to get better and give him more protection.
Yeah.
Three, the tools that he has that make the good things he does happen, like the bat speed, will continue to play.
Yeah.
Like that, the bat speed is not, unless he like suffers a really bad injury, the bat speed's going to stay 100th percentile.
Yeah.
He swings the bat the hardest of anyone.
He's not in his physical prime yet.
Right. He could afford to get even quicker.
Yeah.
So like all the things that he does well are not flukes, and they are like part of the profile.
Yeah.
The things that can be done better are things that typically come with experience and good mentorship.
And like, I will say this, and maybe this is like eye test, and I could probably find a stat to back this up. Maybe I just didn't for this episode, but like, I feel like we saw him put up good long at bats in critical moments in games. So he's capable of it. We have seen that. I think it's fair to say. The question is going to become, will he be able to have the discipline to do that more consistently throughout a season? And again, I think that 100% comes with experience. And I think it's a good thing that he has guys like Yandy Diaz and Brandon Lau, he could stand to have a little bit more plate discipline, but I digress. But Yandy is a great person to, take pointers from that perspective and learn how to build an at bat. And so I hope that, if for nothing else, then to have that mentorship that Yandy sticks around, because I do think that's a valuable relationship that could be cultivated between those two for Caminero's future.
Yeah, I agree. So I had a quick check now about high leverage, low, medium leverage situations and how he's been doing in that. They're currently saying that he has, in high leverage spots, in 96 at-bats that were considered high leverage, he batted 230, 307 on base percentage, 443 slugging, which leads to a 750 OPS. And the great thing, if you put all players high leverage at-bats together, that comes to OPS plus for high leverage spots of 108. So it's okay. It's better than average. Yeah. But it's not great when you consider his low leverage OPS. If you consider all low leverage at bats, his OPS plus in those are 154.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, but like, I think that's a really good, and again, if you haven't run, that's that stat head, right? You're running on those numbers. If you haven't run those numbers before, What that is a OPS plus based on like Pat was saying on other people. So that is a true how is he performing against everybody else in these moments? And the answer is a little above average in high leverage and way above average in low leverage moments. And so that, again, for a guy who is 21 years old, that profile is really encouraging, to see. And I think that's kind of what my big takeaway as I was doing my analysis of him and going into, this offseason is there's obviously the ground ball rate is concerning. That is the one, like, I don't know that I would call it a flashing neon sign, but it is an obvious glaring, like, weakness where he's hitting the ball into the ground 46% of the time. Like, obviously, that is not the number that we want to see from him. You just don't like, and that's just not a great number. Last season in his cup of coffee hit into the ground 48%. So he didn't really improve very much season to season. I will say the small improvement that we did see really went into line drives. Like it was about 13.4 line drive percentage last year in his small sample size. This season it was 15.5 line drives. And then, like I said, last season it was 48 ground balls, 46.5 ground balls. So ground balls went down a little bit, and it did go into line drives. So that is kind of what we like to see more of. Obviously, it's a very small movement, but like that's the kind of movement we would like to see for him going forward, is moving towards like, I don't know, like he hits the ball really hard. So the ground balls, at least, I also don't want to like him to like dramatically change his swing, because the swing also brought us 45 home runs. So but could he get to like somewhere between a 35 and a 40% ground ball rate and split those between line drives and fly balls? I don't know. That's the question.
Yeah. And Yandy made the approach that Yandy made was he started swinging a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Which allowed him to get like out in front of the ball, which made it easier to hit up in the air. Something like that. I don't know if Junior can do that, or if there's something else that works better for him. I'm no hitting mechanic expert, but I think there is a small adjustment to be made there somewhere. Do you have any concerns about the move back to Tropicana Field next year? Because obviously the Steinbrenner was a spring training park, a little park. And Junior did hit quite a lot more of his home runs at home than on the road. Do you think that going back to the Trop means we're going to see a bit of a dip? Do you think 45 home runs is a bit of a stretch for a full season at the Trop?
Not really. I mean, I think that is it possible that next season he will hit fewer home runs? Yes, it is very possible that he hits fewer home runs. But I wonder if he trades, 8 home runs for 8 points of WRC plus next season, which for me, I would take that trade, because that means there's some more doubles in there. There's some more singles in there. There's some, added value there. Like, I think that's very possible, but I think that's also a natural evolution of some of guys, career. Like we've seen this before where guys have had crazy power years, but they obviously can see, and everyone else can see the holes in the other aspects of their games. And so they make adjustments. And so the raw power numbers maybe decline a little bit, but their actual value as a hitter increases because they're doing more of the other things that you like to see that result in more base hits overall. And higher OPS numbers, higher WRC plus numbers. But I don't think that he was they were Mickey Mouse 45 home runs. I really don't. I think if he had been in the Trop this year, the numbers would have been similar.
Yeah. So the X home runs, they reckon he probably would have hit like 42 home runs if he played at the Trop. This is Baseball Savant, StatCast, that thinks this. So he hit 45. They think at the Trop he'd hit 42. So it's not that big of a difference. Because as many balls as he hit that went out because of the smaller dimensions, there were a few home runs that died because of the high winds blowing inwards that wouldn't exist.
100%. 100%. And we haven't heard any information of the sort of weird Willie Adames and like Nelson Cruz issues that some hitters have had at the Trop, which, like, can I just say, brief tangent. if whatever that was is not fixed in this opportunity that has been had to retrofit the Trop with the hurricane damage, someone needs to be fired. Because like if two elite level hitters have told you, "Hey, I have an issue with this," and you didn't take this opportunity, I'm just going to assume that they have, because it would be like it would blow my mind if they didn't. But like if that's not fixed, like that's and again, it doesn't seem like Junior has an issue there. But like,
right. Do you think that the Rays also were like, well, if Willie Adames and Nelson Cruz have problems, maybe it's more likely that opponents will struggle, so we keep it?
Maybe, but like I don't know, like because here's the problem. What if? I mean, we didn't hear about it, but what if next year we get back in the Trop and they didn't fix it, and Junior's like, hey, that thing that was bothering Willie and bothering Nelson is bothering me. No bueno. We don't need that.
That's no good. Yeah,
that's no good. That's no good. So I'm just gonna assume that they fixed that, and we're just gonna never hear about it again. That's my assumption.
Fingers crossed.
But I don't. Yeah, and I hope as well that like obviously this will be an opportunity to make sure that we have the most up-to-date turf, so there will be limited effects on him from a defensive perspective and a wear and tear perspective from that side of things. Because I mean, I think one thing that I don't know if this is a Longo specific issue or I'd have to really look at it. Just look at our third baseman over history. But he had injury. He was a long-standing third baseman. He had injury issues. What could that affect Junior? I sure hope not. But that's again something I think they will take this opportunity to ensure that things like that are up to date, especially because at the moment it seems like we're going to be there a while. So one would hope that whatever goes back in there will be, to spec to make sure that, our players are getting the best experience out there.
100%. I think also, I guess he's on dirt. Does that make a difference?
Yeah, I mean, he's mostly on dirt. I'm just saying occasionally you get infielders playing on the outfield grass a little bit, but not a lot. Not a lot.
Yeah.
But he's less effective than others.
Yeah, I'm really happy that he's decided to take this offseason off and not playing Dominican ball this year. I think it was beneficial to him last winter when he was kind of on the precipice of Major League time, but now that he's established, I think it's better to get he played a full Major League season. I don't think he ever officially hit the IL. I know he had like a week in September or so where he was kind of not playing. I don't think he hit the IL though. Yeah. So that's impressive enough. So yeah, get some rest so that you're ready to go for next season. Because we imagine where we would be without him.
Yeah. And I mean, I can only imagine where everyone's wardrobe would be if we didn't have access to shop.rvlarsports.com, because frankly, we would be deprived of a place to go and find the best merchandise inspired by our favorite Tampa sports teams, Rowdies, Bucks, Lightning, Rays, Sun. It's all there. Lots of Tampa sports going on right now. The Bucks are the best team in football. Maybe. Lots of great Tampa sports to celebrate right now, even outside of the Rays. So go to shop.rvlarsports.com. Use promo code FLAPPY, FLAPPY, for 10% off your entire order. Shop.rvlarsports.com.
Yeah, Halloween's coming up, so be sure to scare your 49ers friends with a Bucks t-shirt. Be like, "Woo, nice. Baker Mayfield." Which you could probably scare Browns fans more with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Browns fans can be scared by any decent defense because they have no offense whatsoever.
The Browns can be scared by the concept of playing football.
Yeah, which, by the way, I have to ask you this question. Like last week, there was a football game played in England, and it may have been one of the worst games of professional American football ever played. The final score was 13-11. What is the perception? Oh, I'm just really curious. What's like the perception of the NFL over there? Because it's pretty frequently some terrible football games get played over there.
Yeah, I imagine it's because all the players are like jet lagged, right? Because they're pretty long flights out to the UK. I mean, it's probably the most watched American sport over here.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely bigger than baseball and basketball and hockey. I would say a really large chunk of people tune in for the Super Bowl, but don't follow the NFL week to week.
Yeah.
I would say the week to week fans are close to baseball, but everyone kind of watches the Super Bowl, but we don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of people in the USA that do that too. And it's, and this year in particular in the NFL is going to be a weird one because no one really knows who's going to make it to the Super Bowl right now. The favorites to get there have all had really bad performances. And now, I said earlier, the Bucs are 5-1, best record in the NFL, tied with the Colts. And right now, I think that if you were to, meander to a sports betting site, it would probably still be Chiefs number one, but it would probably be Bucs would be up there, I would imagine, because they've looked great. And Baker Mayfield's been the best quarterback in the NFL to start the season. We need to find out. We need to get some like Baker Mayfield and Junior Caminero crossover happening.
Yeah, how can we get that to happen?
We need to, because I don't know if you saw, but Junior went to he went to a Bucs game. I think he also was at a Lightning game just in the last week. And there were some pictures.
He's getting around town. Okay,
he's getting around town. So and Baker has come to Rays games before multiple times, and there's several Rays players who are big fans of his and have worn his jersey. So, but we need to these are the two guys that are the franchise. Obviously, the Lightning. I guess I don't know who the Lightning's like. This is probably terrible of me that I don't know.
Didn't it used to be Stamkos?
It used to be Stamkos.
Yeah.
But I'm I feel really bad that I don't know if Stamkos is still in the Lightning or not. But it would be like if we could get Baker and Junior and Stamkos or someone else from the Lightning. Never mind, he's on the Lightning.
Yeah.
He's on the Lightning. I'm being told Hedman would be a good guy to be Braden Point. Oh, Braden Point. Yes, I know Braden Point. I know. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Braden Point.
Apologies to the Lightning show.
Really, really sorry. I need to watch the Lightning show more. I apologize. Braden Point, Baker Mayfield, Junior Caminero. We need to find a way to get them all together at some point.
Tampa Bay.
Yes, Tampa Bay.
Also, I know Halloween is coming. What's if you could go as dressed as anything from Ray's kind of history to scare Rays fans, what would you go
to scare Rays fans?
Scare Rays fans on Halloween.
Probably just show up in a Nelson Cruz jersey. That would be my first.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Mine, because we're not doing the obvious one. All right.
No,
we're not doing that one.
No, we're not doing that.
But Blake Snell, our producer says Blake Snell before the pitching change. Mine was going to be the Jordan Luplow Grand Slam.
Oh yeah. Or the glove of who was it? Kevin Kiermaier's glove in the Boston series.
Yes. Yeah. That hit the Hunter Renfroe ball out.
Yeah.
That's a thing for the comments. You need to let us know what if you had to scare Rays fans, what would you get dressed up as? With
Nick Anderson.
Nick Anderson. That's so harsh.
It's so harsh. It's so harsh.
He was so good.
He was very good in a Rays uniform.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other scary. I mean, just Taylor Walls, right? Gold Glove finalists.
Gold Glove finalists. Yes. Gold Glove finalists. Have they announced the Silver Slugger finalists? Because surely Junior would be a finalist for the third base Silver Slugger.
You'd like to think so. You might lose out to Jose Ramirez, but I don't think they.
Well, but as a finalist, at least, because I would think it would be Ramirez, Caminero, and either, probably Garcia, because Eugenio Suarez swapped teams. But I would think that for the AL Silver Slugger, it would be Garcia, Caminero, and Ramirez.
Yeah, they've not announced the finalists for 2025 yet.
Yeah, because that's got to be the silver. Because that's the other thing I wanted to talk about, kind of before we say sayonara for this week. I think it's a real conversation about when could Junior Caminero solidly take the best third baseman in baseball moniker from Jose Ramirez, because Jose Ramirez has it and he has not relinquished it yet. Because the thing that when you compare them, right? Obviously, Junior is beating Jose in the power numbers, but you cannot ignore the 44, which is insane to think about. 44 stolen bases that Jose Ramirez adds.
I always wonder how he does that, because you look at him and you do go, that man will not steal 40 bases.
But he does. And he's very good defensively. He's the clear WAR leader in third base.
He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
He's an unbelievable player.
And every year, I'm like, he surely will. I'm like the old Rage Comics serial guy, where I go into every season going, right, he will not be surely he will not be balling this year. And then I look at his stat line in August and I go, so who knows? Because he's 33.
Yeah.
So you got to wonder, like, this is where the prime usually starts to stop, but that's like if you're a normal player, and Jose Ramirez is not a normal player. Maybe not next year, maybe 2 seasons from now, I'll say Junior Caminero becomes the best third baseman.
Because I was going to kind of say the same thing, because I think next year, again, it could be close. But, I mean, like, the reality is he has put up, for the last 5 seasons, he's put up a 6 F4 or better. And the one season in between there, he was a 4.6 F4, which is what Junior put up. So his down year over the last 5 seasons was Junior's career high. Never could have expected it. Amazing year, which just goes to show you the kind of player, and maybe the most underrated player of all time, under-talked about, underappreciated player of all time is Jose Ramirez. Insane baseball player. But I do think in 2 years' time, when we're talking about, Ramirez's age 34 season, and Caminero is really entering his prime in his age 23 season, that's when I think we could start to see. I don't think he'll ever have the stolen bases, but I also think as he starts to age out of his prime, Ramirez does, you'll start to see the stolen bases come down, which that's pretty standard. And so then that's when I think you'll see that start to switch a little bit in Caminero's favor. But I think 2 seasons is definitely. But I do think next year there will be points during the season where you can have a really good conversation about it. I think there will be.
Because I'm looking at, like, is there anyone that who didn't have a great year this year but could be in the mix? I mean, Matt Chapman, maybe, just because his defense is so good. Machado, but Machado's getting old, man.
He's getting
old. I don't see him randomly putting up 6 WAR.
Can Garcia repeat this season? Can he be as good this year or next year as he was this year?
Maybe.
Suarez is all power.
Maybe Alex Bregman if he doesn't get hurt.
I don't know. He's kind of in the same boat to me as he's kind of in the same boat as Chapman and Machado and Ramirez to me, where they're all kind of moving this way in the age department.
Yeah. Speaking of actually defense, Junior Caminero, just really quickly. He's fine.
He's fine. He was early in the season. He was bad. Well, not bad. He was below average for an MLB third baseman, which is a tough defensive position. Obviously, like we see, guys like Michael Garcia, who definitely did provide value offensively, but really provided a lot of value defensively. There's a lot of value to be had at third base. From a WAR perspective, from a value perspective. Look at Longo, yes. So, and again, I don't necessarily know if Junior is capable of Longo or Michael Garcia level defense, only because I don't know where his mobility peaks at. I don't know. I just don't know that. But I do think the arm talent is there, and I think again, you think about it, he's still low on the rep side of things. So as he gets more reps, I don't see him getting worse. There's nothing to imply that he's going to get worse defensively. And so I would say, number one, find a way to get Longo in the building as like the defensive consultant, and literally third base coach, and literally just have him coach Junior. Like literally, like you're just his personal defensive coach, and it doesn't matter what you have to get paid. We want you in the building doing that. And because if he can get to even right now, Jose Ramirez is at put up like a 4.6 def stat last season, which is actually a little high for him. That's actually closer to where he was doing earlier in his career. He's been a little bit lower in the last couple of years, but he had a nice year defensively last year. If he could provide that kind of value defensively, I'd be really happy with that. I don't need him to be putting up, 15 DEF stat like some of these other elite defensive guys. This is something I said in our preview. is that I don't think he's going to be Manny Machado from a defensive standpoint, and I don't need him to be, and I stand by that. I don't think he needs to be that. One of the things that I said going into this year was I think he could be as good defensively as Paredes was. And Paredes last season was slightly worse than Junior defensively. So, like, that's a good place to start for him.
Yeah, that makes sense. He was -3 outs above average, just like -0.8 defensive rating on Fangraphs, which is all like not disastrous, a bit under average. It's fine.
It's fine.
He's really good at the coming in and doing the barehanded throw thing.
Yes,
he's good at that play. But yeah, it needs to be a little bit better in terms of like the rangy bits.
Yeah, and I think that's going to come from experience of like learning to read the ball off the bat, learning just getting those reps, getting the your positioning, the discipline there. That's all reps. At least to my eye and my understanding.
100%.
Especially when you consider the value he's putting up offensively. I'm like, as long as he's not a liability out there, I'm probably going to be fine. But it would be cool if he was a positive there, and I think he has the potential to do that. And it seems like from his comments, he's made comments before about, hey, I need to get better defensively. I want to be better defensively. So that's a positive as well.
So let's throw a grade on Junior Caminero, as we like to do for these player reviews. Zach, I'll let you go first.
This is the easiest grade. Maybe I don't know if ever. Maybe I think it's probably going to be the easiest grade ever. It's an A+. He exceeded every expectation. He hit every benchmark we could imagine. The defensive level that we hoped he could be at, the offensive level way beyond anything we expected, the power level far beyond anything we could have expected coming into the season. It's a super easy A+. He's the franchise. He's the future of this team, and he played like it this season. And we can only hope that this is not a fluke, which we don't think it is, as we kind of discussed this episode. But we hope that it is the sign of things to come for him. That this is the beginning of an amazing career. It's an A+.
Yeah, I'm happy to give an A+ as well, compared to age, expectations, and yeah, we were like, I hope he's the future of the team, and now I'm like, yeah, he is.
He is,
which is exactly what we want, and there's room to grow as well.
Yeah.
If he put up the same season next year, would it be an A+?
Probably. I mean, realistically, he's 22. It'd be his age 22 season. If he gave me the exact same season, I would probably still be, and maybe it would be an A, like an A+. I try to give out like one A+. And by the way, there's really nobody else that comes close to an A+. I hate to break it to you guys as we go into these player reviews. I hope you enjoy the positivity in this one, guys, because there are some other positives. There is one other guy who's probably close and probably misses it just because of injury.
I think there's a guy I can give an A.
There is a guy that I will give an A to. I've already like mentally given him an A. But like after that, it's a lot of B's and below. And so next season, if he did the exact same, it would be hard to not be like, I wanted more. But at the same time, I would also be saying, hey, now we have evidence that this was not a fluke and this is who he is. And I would probably be really excited about that, because that is even more confidence going forward that he is going to be with this guy. And this is as bad as he's ever going to get, because there is still this like tiny possibility out there that he has a massive regression next year, because we have seen it happen with young stars in recent days. The Orioles as a team come to mind. Like it can happen. There were some signs under the radar with a lot of those guys that we don't see with Junior, but it can happen. So if I knew that I wasn't going to get that next year, I would probably still put him at either like a really high A or an A+. But I mean, it wouldn't be any lower than an A.
Let's not get spoiled, because he was a top 15 player in WAR in the American League this year, right? Yes. So like he's in the upper echelon of players. So if you put up 4.5 wins, like you always got to be happy with 4.5 wins. But I think we aspirationally want him to get to 5 wins next year.
I would agree. And I think I would like to see that come from defense and from maybe putting the ball into the ground a little bit less.
Yeah, raising that WRC plus mainly through walks.
Yes. A little bit more plate discipline, a little bit less ground balls, a little bit more consistency from a defensive perspective. Because there was a point, because he ended the year slightly negative in defensive rating on Fangraphs. He was positive at one point. So, like, there is some volatility there with him from a defensive perspective. So I'd like to see a little more stability.
Yeah. I didn't think we'd be able to do almost an hour on Junior Caminero, but
I did.
We love this guy. We love this guy because we didn't even talk about how much we need to extend him. But like, long story short, we need to extend him. I don't care if it's 35 million a year. I need to give this guy an extension. Use the Wanda money. Use the new ownership money. Do whatever it takes. You need to give this guy a blank check.
Yeah, and I mean, I've said this a bunch in our RBLR Discord to where people are tired of me saying it at this point. But yesterday's price is not today's price. If he goes out and does next year what he did this year, the price increase that him and his agent are going to realistically be able to ask for is monumental. Right now, he's had one great year. And you could give him a really nice contract that would be, relatively speaking, very favorable for you and call it fair. Next year, if he does the same thing, now you're saying, this is who this guy is. So you have to pay him like that. And guess what, guys? If he's a 5-WAR player, now we're talking $40 million a year, realistically.
Yeah, I think now you can get him somewhere around the 25 million a year range. I think you
could. I think
if you give him the years. If you give him the years
right now and give him the stability long term. Because injury can happen and anything can happen. So guys will take that stability in baseball, even more so than in other sports, I think. But in next year, I don't know. If next year he's healthy the full season and he kills it again,
because I've mentioned it before, Julio Rodriguez.
Right.
He signed his big contract extension, I believe, after winning Rookie of the Year, right? And he signed for 12 years, $209 million, which is like an AAV of like 17 million. Yeah. That was a couple of years ago. Things have inflated, right? But so I think somewhere around 25 million. Yeah. I think for, that guy, Junior couldn't win Rookie of the Year this year because they used up his rookie eligibility last year. But he was probably in the mix. He would have been in the mix with like Nick Kurtz.
Nick Kurtz was amazing, but it would have been closer than the two of them. Yeah. Yeah,
it would have been close. So I think that's the benchmark you got to look at. Yeah. Hopefully they get it done. I think that has to be the statement new ownership make. And also, like, we need to give people a reason to buy people love to have a name on the back of a jersey, and we've been crying out for a guy that we can go, let's get this guy's name on the back of the jersey. We thought it was going to be one guy. It's not that guy anymore. We got a new guy.
Yes.
And this is a guy that I think is worth putting the name on the jersey for.
Yeah, and I think but again, the question's just going to become what is Eric Yander allowed to do? Because here's the thing, and this is where it gets sticky. He's not a free agent until 2031 right now. He's not arbitration eligible till 2028.
But what you said is the main factor, that if the longer you wait, the more expensive this extension is going to become. And you'd rather sign him for 25 mil AAV instead of 40 mil AAV.
Or just lose him straight up.
Right. Because be forced to trade him.
Yeah. Or be forced to trade him because he's sick and tired of he's going to make like, I don't know. This year he made $764,000, which is a lot of money, but is an insane value for a guy.
Yeah. Or it's a case of like, well, he's leaving at free agency, so you got to get something for him.
Exactly. And you have to trade him, which that's something you don't want to have happen, right?
It happens all the time with the Rays. But
it does. And with this guy, like here's the other thing. And I don't want to get too far into this because this is doom and gloom territory. If you lose him, Carson Williams, as much as we love him, I don't think he's quite this guy.
No.
At one point, I may have thought he was, but I don't know that I think that anymore. And when you look through the Rays minor league system, there's lots of guys with lots of talent, but I don't know if there's anybody out there that's this guy. Mm-hmm. So you kind of got a do-over on the whole Wander thing.
A really lucky chance.
A really lucky do-over. You cannot afford, and again, you didn't do anything wrong with Wander. So it's not like you messed up, but like weird things happen.
It was like the scales rebalancing after the insane awful luck of Wander.
Correct.
The baseball gods were like, okay, that's kind of mean. He is junior to kind of try and tip the scales.
And you have to give him like almost the same deal, if not maybe more, or maybe you can balance it a little bit. I don't know how you want to do it, but like you cannot be afraid. And again, we're in a weird spot right now. Where Junior's hearing is like pushed off till, or not Junior, Wander's hearing has been pushed off till November. Lots of weird stuff we won't get into going on with that. But suffice it to say, there doesn't appear to be an end near in sight to that. But like you have to think at this point, you just have to not care about that. You cannot allow yourself to be held hostage. And I know it's easy for me to say here in my like wheelie chair in my bedroom, and then not, dealing with the millions of dollars that these owners are putting into the franchise. But I just feel like you cannot allow Junior Caminero to slip away because you're waiting on that situation to resolve itself.
Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree. You got to, there could have been a world where we could have had both. Imagine.
I can't even think about it.
Yeah, let's not think about it.
No.
But I think let's end on how great Junior Caminero is. We've got a new cornerstone cornerstone of the franchise cemented. A top 15 player in the league. One of the most exciting power bats. Could have won the home run derby. I think he might have another go at the home run derby.
Oh, he will. I definitely get that feeling. And I mean, he's the top 2 to 3 player at his position in Major League Baseball. Like that's exciting. When people talk about the best players at each position, we have a player that's going to be mentioned there. It's been a while since we've been able to say that. As good as some guys, and even, Brandon, when he's healthy, maybe you could have put him in that range, and you probably still could a little bit. But you got a guy that's solidly going to be in that conversation for years to come. And that's just fun as a sports fan to be able to turn on like a sports network. And there's a chance that our guy's going to be talked about because he is that good.
Yeah,
because
like
he is at the top like that.
In September, the only reason we were tuning in was to see if he was going to break the home run record, right? Yeah, he's that guy, and I think we'll call it a day with how good Junior Caminero is.
Yeah,
what would you give him? Let us know in the comments.
Please let us know. And if you enjoyed this show, if you enjoyed us talking about Junior Caminero, which you probably did if you're a Rays fan. I hope that you did anyway. Do us a huge favor and drop us a follow on whatever social media platform you enjoy us on, whether that's YouTube, Twitter, or whatever. It helps us out a bunch. It's free. It doesn't sign you up for anything other than knowing when we're going live, which we will continue to do all throughout the offseason. We've got player reviews to do. We'll be talking about any of the news that does come up throughout the offseason. Obviously, we're still kind of waiting on the World Series to end over the next couple of weeks to see what free agency might look like. But as that stuff starts to come in, we will have to talk about. We'll break down before we get to that point what the Rays free agents are, who might be leaving, who we might try to bring in. We'll have all that for you here. And we hope that you'll be here to talk that with us all throughout the offseason.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Can't wait to keep coming back, talking more Rays. And thank you so much, Tobias Myers, for being so good that the Cleveland Guardians gave us Junior Caminero.
Yeah. I mean, what more can we say than that? Thank you to Tobias Myers. And thank once again to all of you who joined us today. We really appreciate every one of you. And, it's going to be a long off season because we don't really know what the future looks like yet. But all off season long, we can still play Junior Caminero highlights. And that's what I think we're going to do. And I'm just going to do that and say raise up.
Raise up.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLI Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.